Welcome to Awkward Chats, where we take you on a hilarious journey behind the scenes of our travel adventures, and it can get a little awkward.
I'm Nacy.
And I'm Gary.
And together, we make up Lostgirlintomorrowland, our YouTube channel, where we go on fun adventures all across the U.S. But that wasn't enough. We wanted a place where we could talk about the real behind the scenes that goes into producing our channel.
Awkward Chats is your ticket to the real, unfiltered side of our travel adventures and a place where we can start your awkward conversations.
So buckle up and get ready for an adventure full of laughter, mishaps, and of course, awkward topics.
You can find new episodes every month, everywhere you get your podcast. This is Awkward Chats.
Well, welcome back to what's going to be the first of many shorts, hopefully.
So we're not welcoming you back. We're welcoming you for the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Well, anyways, welcome. Thank you for joining us for what we're going to call maybe quickies or shorties. We're not sure.
Yeah, it'll be awkward something, that's for sure. It's already awkward.
It's always awkward here.
So today we're going to talk about Universal Studios' new park.
Epic Universe.
Yeah, so we're going to just kind of go through each one of the lands that they've announced so far. They announced them this week.
Yeah.
And first off, are you excited?
Yeah, of course, because, you know, we're moving. We're not 100% sure where we're going, but 99.9% sure it's going to be somewhere in Florida. And we're going to probably be back in the parks. And this is a whole new park to explore. The only downside is it is Universal. Universal tends to not be size accommodating when it comes to things. But we're going to take that with a grain of salt because homegirl and homeboy here, we've been working hard.
So let's just start. I guess I'll list all the parks. And you want to go talk about them individually?
Yeah,
Okay.
you list them off because you got the list.
All right, so I'll go through each park and then we'll talk about them individually. So the first park is Celestial Park. That's going to be, they call it a step into a luscious green world where thrills, entertainment, dining, and shopping lead all who enter on an exhilarating journey of discovery.
I think that's going to be like the main entrance, right?
We'll talk about that in a second. The next park would be the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, Ministry of Magic.
Woot woot.
From 1920s Paris to the 1990s British Ministry, explore international wizarding communities and the magic that connects them in the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, Ministry of Magic.
That'll be interesting.
Super Nintendo World is next, and they already have a Super Nintendo World, so I'm not going to read the description of that one. How to Train Your Dragon, Isle of Berk, which is take to the skies and soar with dragons as you explore the colorful Viking villages at the heart of Berk. Take part in wild boat battles, feast like a Viking, and more.
We're big How to Train Your Dragon fans over here.
And then the last one is Dark Universe, which is from the experiments of Dr. Victoria Frankenstein to a shadowy landscape where monsters roam. Dark Universe is a world of myth and mystery. So, Celeste Park. Talk about that one first.
Yeah, so the Celeste one I think is supposed to be the entrance because it's going to be your traditional like hub and spoke.
Hub and Stargates. Looks like Hub and Stargates.
Hubs and Stargates. And that's going to be like where you walk in. They're also supposed to be having a hotel in this area too that I think is going to kind of mimic what Disneyland Tokyo or I don't know which one does it, where they have the hotel in the theme park.
So the Celestial will not. The hotel is going to be on the other side. So basically you're going to walk in the Celestial according to the picture that we've seen online from Universal Studios. And you can also find the descriptions on Universal Orlando Resort's website. But the picture shows that the hotel's at the far end. The Celestial Park is actually on this side. So you got the far end's going to be the hotel. You're going to have the Celestial Park at the beginning, and then they shoot off into the different lands as you go towards the hotel.
Okay. And the hotel will probably have views of the theme park.
Yes.
So you'll kind of feel like you're in the theme park, but you're not in the theme park.
My feeling is it's kind of like in DCA when you go to the California hotel, the back of it sort of backs up to the park, right? Mm-hmm. And so you see that. I feel like that's kind of what you're going to get, only it's going to be on the far end of the park, the opposite of the other people interesting. I imagine there's an entrance there for the hotel people too. I'm not saying that, but I'm just... And it kind of looks like there's like a fountain in front of the hotel.
Yeah, that'll be cool. I think that'll be interesting. Again, we need new blood. We need something to refresh because we have not had a new theme park since Animal Kingdom. If you think about it.
If you don't count Legoland. And apparently you don't count Legoland.
No, I mean, like, does Legoland count?
And you're saying Orlando, by the way.
Yeah, like Orlando in general. I mean, we've had a few water parks, but I don't know if those count as theme parks because it's a water park. Like,
Yeah. I mean, Universal is counting their water park as a theme park, so it just kind of depends on what you want to say. But I do get your sentiment. Basically, the last big one was Animal Kingdom. I mean, without a doubt, I think that was the last big park.
Yeah.
That was innovative, that was designed. This one would be
It was over 25 years ago.
Yeah, this would be the follow-up. That's sort of like something new for both of them. And I think that definitely gives Disney some competition. I find it funny, all the vloggers that are like, oh, Disney's shaking in its boots. Disney's known for a while what they're building. They have insiders. They know everything that's going in there, just like Universal does for Disney.
I think it'll be interesting to see what Disney does to clap back. But let's move on. So next part,
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter. So obviously we have Harry Potter over at Islands of Adventure, Universal Studios, and now we're going to have a third land, essentially, an Epic Universe. I think it'll be interesting, but it's based off of Fantastic Beasts, which...
No. It'd be Fantastic Beasts going to I think what happened was they were going to do Fantastic Beasts, and then Fantastic Beasts bombed. And so they've actually made it more Harry Potter-esque. It's going to be like the Ministry of Magic that Harry Potter goes into in, like, what is it, episode 6 or 5? Where he sneaks in there and Umbridge is in like the basement doing that, and they're as the keepers or whatever. That's what it's going to be. It's going to be the Ministry of Magic from what they're saying, with some aspects of, I think, 1920 sort of British look, which is from Fantastic Beasts.
Yeah.
But I think they're going to lean it more towards Harry Potter because Fantastic Beasts isn't doing well, and it was supposed to have like 2 sequels at this point since the third one, and it hasn't had anything.
Any progress on that, but that'll be interesting, I think, to see that because I do love both of the Wizarding Worlds over at Universal Studios and at Islands of Adventure. I like both of them, so it'll be interesting to see a third iteration of that in the park for sure. And I'm going to be curious as to how they're going to connect, like what is going to be the overall connection, because between the two over at Universal and Island Adventure, you have the train. So like, how are they going to connect the worlds? I don't know that they're going to physically connect them, but like.
Oh, you mean all the other Harry Potter lands? You mean? You keep saying worlds, but they're lands, aren't they? They're like lands.
Lands, worlds.
I don't think so. I don't think they're going to connect it at all. I think it's just going to be the Ministry of Magic and whatever.
We'll see.
I'll say, sure. Then the next one's going to be Super Nintendo World,
which we do have at Universal Hollywood, which we have not gone to. We have not been to Universal Studios Hollywood. It is on our list of things to see before we leave the West Coast, but who knows? It's an easy flight to get back out here too. But that's really small, so I'm curious to see how, like, are they going to keep it the exact size that it is at Tokyo and in Hollywood, or are they going to expand it a little bit because we're supposed to get the Donkey Kong roller coaster, so it would need a little more space?
I think it's going to be almost the exact same size, which is kind of sad. It seems small from what we've seen other vloggers do it. It seems like a very small area. It seems really cool, but it seems really small. And then, like Nacy said, it's going to have the Donkey Kong ride, which is supposed to be like a jumping roller coaster.
Yeah.
Which will be interesting to ride. And if you've ever played Donkey Kong on N64, that's kind of what they're referencing, is that jump scene that they had in that, which was really cool. But it's kind of
I'm more excited about the food. The food looked interesting. I think that's probably the one thing I'm interested about that land is the food, because the food that I've seen from the other 2 parks seems interesting. It's like worth a try.
Yeah, I definitely want to try the mushroom soup with the toadstool on it and stuff like that.
Mushroom soup.
So there's some really cool stuff there. The next one is How to Train Your Dragon, Isle of Berk, which is something.
We like How to Train Your Dragon. We're definitely How to Train a Dragon fans, I guess you could say. You like Toothless, and I don't know, what rides do they have in there? Is it all kid related, like youngin related?
So we weren't really going to get too much into the rides on this one, but from what I've seen, do you remember that New Jersey had the Nickelodeon land?
Yeah.
Remember how they had the Avatar ride?
Yeah.
With the kite? That's what it looks like with the dragons, from what I've seen. So it's kind of like that kind of ride.
Interesting.
There's supposed to be a place to eat, because they talk about whole eating like a Viking or whatever.
Okay.
Interesting.
Should be interesting. Yeah, I think I would be interested to see that one for sure.
So I wonder if they have like a booth that they chop off your legs so you can be like, what's his name? And Toothless. And you get the little peg leg.
Maybe you can just buy a peg leg I doubt there'll be any actual
Well, then
amputations.
but then you can't get a Night Fury if you don't have a peg leg. I feel like you're kind of missing that step.
Yeah, I don't know. You have to talk to the folks over at Universal about that stuff. That seems a little involved.
But genuinely, I am excited. I mean, the movie's got a little I was gonna say junk towards the end. It was kind of a weird ending to it, where they all like hide the dragons away,
Oh, yeah.
and then go visit them. I thought that was kind of dumb. Personally, like, oh, we're gonna hide them from you, but it's okay for me and my family to still go visit them, even though all of those other people had dragons that they literally integrated to. They have whole shows about how everyone's riding their dragons, and then they're like, nah, screw you guys. We're just gonna keep them to ourselves. That was weird. But overall, I liked the concept, and I liked How to Train Your Dragon. I liked Toothless. I liked some of the other dragons too. It was pretty cool. I liked the fat one that ate rocks. You know, he was cute too.
Fat one that ate rocks.
And then the last land is going to be Dark Universe. Now, this is cool. I'm glad they actually went with the Dark Universe. It's sort of like going back in time. I feel like it's very Disney-esque, going back in time to those creations
Classic.
of your thing, yeah, and sort of
Classic
trying to pull them into
monsters.
the future. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting. I am not one for horror. I just don't do well. I grew up in a horrific household as it was, so I don't need horror to scare me. I could just go home for that if I really wanted to. But I will give it a go. Like, I'll give it a go just to kind of see. Again, too, like, we don't ever really do like Halloween Horror Nights or anything like that too. So I'm curious to see if it's going to be anything kind of like that. I do think what they're doing with the mansion and like some of the other ideas that they've thrown out there sound interesting, especially if they do something where you can like make yourself into a monster, like they had the monster show over at Universal Studios, which they took out. I think it'll be interesting if they bring that over there.
Yeah, I've always been a fan of Frankenstein's monster. I like him a lot. I just think it's going to be an interesting experience. As for Halloween Horror Nights, we might go this year because there's rumors that Ghostbusters is coming back. A little off topic, but there's rumors that Ghostbusters is coming back to Halloween Horror Nights this year because of the new Ghostbusters movie that's coming out in March. So maybe be going to the Halloween Horror Nights, but I'm excited. I think it's cool. I think it sort of reaches back into that nostalgia piece. They're also clearly going to make new Monsters movies. I mean, they were going to try to launch a whole Monsters universe in early 2000s, and that didn't work because a couple of the movies really weren't very good. And they're going to have like a whole connected universe with Frankenstein's monsters and Dracula and the werewolf and all that stuff. Didn't really work. I think they're probably going to try again because honestly, there's not much going on in cinemas right now. So there's definitely an opportunity for them to sort of reach back to those classic characters that they don't have to pay much for.
Yeah.
Most of them are public domain at this point almost.
Right.
So it's kind of free to them to play around with those characters. I think it's a
Well, I
good
mean, if you think
opportunity.
about it, we were going back, we were watching some really old Disney cartoons and even Disney classic cartoons from like the early 90s. They drew off classic fairy tales and quote unquote made them their own. So essentially Universal could do that too. I mean, I don't see anything wrong with pulling from classic stories and
Right.
changing them. Now, don't change them and make them stupid. But
They're going to. Yeah,
but
hopefully
there's
they
a
don't.
lot of I mean, going back to like that classicness of old stories that need to be told to another generation. There's always potential there to bring the past into the future or go take a step back in time and like let's retell the story.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting too. The whole like Stargate looking piece of it from the Celestial Park. It's kind of weird that they went with like a Stargate to go to each land.
Stargate. Is Stargate like, like free domain at this point?
MGM
yet.
owns it. I'm not sure if MGM is Universal and MGM the same thing though.
No.
Yeah, so MGM's still by itself. Bezos, last I knew, had the rights to Stargate. So interesting, but I like the whole concept. It looks interesting. We talked about this off camera though. Hopefully it's not Galaxy's Edge, where there's this huge promise of they're going to do a lot of things, and then they finally get to it, and it's just absolute garbage.
I like the idea that they're building a whole park, which they were purchasing the land when we left Orlando 6 years ago, 5 years ago, 6 years. Anyways, they were purchasing the land for Epic Universe, and that was like a whole to do. And then when we went back last August, in the Skywheel thing,
The Orlando Eye.
we were seeing kind of like the construction that was happening.
That was pretty far along.
And I have to say, I think I like the fact that they're trying to put a whole new park together because they can work on everything individually and open it all together versus like this piecemeal thing that seems to be the newest way of theme parks, where they like piecemeal and update here or there, and they close a park or they close a ride, and it's like what they're doing with Tiana's.
Well, I don't have a problem with the piecemealing piece of it. It's the problem I have is that you're charging the full price for parks that are like Magic Kingdom. At one point, over half the rides were shut down because they're refurbing them or repairing them, but you're still charging full price for tickets. That to me is ridiculous. But I can totally understand too, the whole, like, you can get it all together. You can get everything streamlined. You can get everything laid out like you want it to be laid out. And then you sort of open it up. I can see the benefits of that too, though.
Now, my question is this: will the cost of a Universal ticket increase?
Yes, of course it will.
And will the cost of a Universal annual pass increase? And if you already have one, will you be grandfathered in when this park opens?
Who knows?
I mean, I think it would be beneficial to be like, hey, like if you're an annual pass holder, hey, you're going to get a sneak peek. Like that would be cool.
They have an option. They either do it the Disney way, which is charge nickel and dime you for everything, which is probably the route they'll go. But I'm not optimistic. Or they can go the right way, which Universal has seemed to be doing a lot lately.
Yeah.
And do the right thing, grandfather the people in. The thing is, if it's Disney, it's going to try to shoo all their annual pass holders out because they just want new people in there to go and see the park, which is not a good strategy because, again, your annual pass holders are your
bread and butter.
Bread and butters. So if you shoo them away, those are the people that love your park, will die for your park, will buy all the merch, will do all that stuff. You shoo them away, and the only people you're going to get are, well, no, you're going to get what they call like normies on other channels, but people that are just have like a passing interest in it. They don't really mind it, but they don't really love it either. And they'll go and check it out one time and then they're never going to come back.
Yeah. It's the whole culture thing we've talked about where they keep going after these big whales. But at the same time, I think during the pandemic, Universal definitely stood out to me as somebody who wasn't even going there, but just watching how they were treating their pass holders versus how Disney was treating their pass holders. And what Universal has done in the background over the last few years as the parks have reopened, and just kind of how they treat their pass holders versus how Disney's been treating their pass holders. I think they've been doing the better job of the two, but obviously as somebody who isn't a pass holder right now, I can't speak from actual experience. It's just my outsider observation. But it is on our list of one of the things that we will be getting once we get back to Orlando.
Yeah, our thing about Universal, and we've talked about this in the past, is they're not size inclusive. Their DAS system, or their disability access stuff,
that's going to be interesting,
is illegal in the United States. So I'm wondering when they're actually going to get challenged in court about it. And that sort of turns us off from going there too. But otherwise, the price is really good price point. The amount of stuff you get is okay. I don't know if I'd ever go to the water parks, but I would definitely go to try it a couple times just to see what it's like. But overall, I do think that this is going to hopefully get Disney to do something in the U.S. because they're doing some stuff abroad.
Yeah.
And they're doing really cool stuff abroad, like the Utopia Land, but they're not doing anything here. And hopefully this stuff brings it. And if it's as good as they promise it's going to be, unlike the stuff that we've seen in the past from other parks, it should sort of kick a butt, and sort of kick Disney up.
I don't want just like an expansion of, Frontierland or, whatever. Like I
or
would
a Mary
love,
Poppins ride that never shows.
I mean, I thought for sure that they were gonna put Zootopia in perhaps an Animal Kingdom. I think it belongs there.
No, we get Encanto.
I know, but Encanto doesn't belong there.
I know. That's why I just made fun of it.
It's the freaking Animal Kingdom.
Right. And Encanto has nothing to do with animals.
Yeah.
At all. Like,
other than the one kid can talk to animals. That's your loose tie. Loose tie.
That's very loose. At least Miguel had like a spirit animal, so you could put them there or something. Like, I don't know. And I'm just thinking recent movies. Or the panda. You could always do the period panda. Period panda.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even watch Red. Didn't even watch Red.
I have. It's all about a girl's little period. It's interesting.
Yeah. So overall, though, definitely excited for the new Epic Universe to come out.
I am too.
I am going to be keeping my eye out for future publications, I guess, like whatever comes out as the lead up. When does it open?
2025.
2025, which will be here before you know it, guys, because it is already February and 2024 is just a ticking. just a ticking by.
Yeah. And again, when we went to the Orlando Eye, it looked fairly constructed. So I am excited for that.
So I bet probably like towards the end of this year, they'll probably start doing
Yeah,
like the testing and like they'll probably open it up to certain people.
Well, they're setting up some stuff in the parks. There's a rumor that in Universal, they're setting up a display area like they do in Disney sometimes that actually will have like displays of the parks, the different rides, things like that.
That'll be fun.
Yeah.
I'm excited. So that is probably going to wrap up this shorties, this quickies, shorties. We're not really sure which
Awkward Quickies. There you go. That's a good name. Awkward Quickies.
Awkward Quickies. And we're hoping to do a lot more of these for you guys and just kind of give you some quick bites to, talk about some other stuff.
Yeah. Legit tip. If you're having an awkward quickie, make sure they laugh and make them come back.
So if you guys like this podcast, make sure you like it wherever you guys stream your podcast and subscribe to our potty.
Yeah, let us know in the comments. What are you thinking about the Epic Universe? What's your thoughts on it? Are you excited? Are you looking for anything spectacular? And kind of what you're looking forward to here, because we're excited and we're definitely interested to see what you guys are thinking too.
So we will keep you guys updated with much more content to come. So
yeah, and we'll see you all in the next one.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.